Buddy.
Welcome to Surface Noise, the A-side.
Aloha, Mr. Hand. You're back. Maybe with a vengeance. Oh, yo. He's not going to believe this. I got to put the comment up. Hang on a second. So, Dimebag Dave, I have not seen comment in a hot minute. Rojas, has he been commenting on your lives, your DJ sets? I have not seen him in a minute.
Hey, Dave, how's it going? Welcome.
Yeah, I was because I've seen him comment other places, so I don't know if we were on the strike list or not, but I'm just so glad. Dave is so nice, like literally one of the nicest cats out there. So I'm glad he's here. So cool.
He always says very nice things on my YouTube channel videos.
See, look,
I like him too.
I'm saying, like, he's in the short list of Mount Rushmore of nicest people.
Concert Buddy, can you copy his channel and put it in like the chat, and then people can sub up to Dave?
Yeah, because so I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go to channel, and I'm going to do this. And we're gonna do this. Yeah, hang on. Yeah, let's get Dave some subs up. Let's get this going. Boom, boom. Life just happens. My man, those are prophetic words. But let's get you some subs because you are awesome. All right. Well, let's see who else is here. The room is filling up, so I gotta clam for time as we get everybody in here. We got Spins Vinyl. He's here. He is. I think this is his down day. He is doing a very brazen thing. He's live streaming Monday through Friday, essentially, except today, his off day on A side. And then I don't know if he's doing it this weekend. You can tell us in the comments, Spins, but doing the Whatnot thing Saturday and Sunday. So this guy is screen-tacular. So my man is. I hope he's got the stamina. That's what I told him. He told me he was going to do it, and I was like, buddy, more power to you. Hope you can keep up by Carl Lewis because that is ambitious. Yep, see, my day off, just chilling. Who else is here? Let's see here. We got the Breakfast King of Loyola, Paul, and he was just listening to a corny record with Rob Tyner from the MC5 playing auto harp. That is an interesting thing to listen to. Who else is here? Elliot Cruz. Now, Elliot Cruz was here first. And Elliot says he was watching the Coletco live. Talk about streaming every night. Chad at Coletco he's an animal. And Elliot says he's watching Coletco live. It's hard to pull himself away. He gets so rather inflated prices for a lot of his records. Must be making a killing at this game. Not exactly Shady, I guess, but semi. Well, as somebody who's talked to Chad offline, because Chad's a nice business owner, and I have nothing. Surface Noise wishes him all the best. That was a regular bit we were doing there for a bit. We were dual streaming Coletco and observing the trends, the buying trends. But hey, if people pay, it's what people pay. But Chad's a nice guy. I came down on the nice guy camp. Andy G, hello. Where are you, Andy G? Boom. Hello, Andy G. Music in the house. Hello. The Wax was on VCP today with a interview from Analog October Records. So if you haven't listened to that, listen to that. Depeche Commode, the best name, bar none, in the vinyl community. Jeff knows. Depeche Commode is the best. All about it. I think this is Jack. Perpetual Obscurity Records has released, quote, Life is Just a Vapor by Paul Thorne. Is great. Okay. And this guy, Final Kicks 86, he was on the Spin Show Tuesday, which I was sitting in. It says, Hola, Surface Noise crew and everybody here. Hola. It's about all my Spanish. Hola. Well, it's the A-side. We're here, Surface Noise Thursdays. I know I'm wearing my USA knockoff hoodie because there's a big hockey match tonight. I think it's 4 Cups or 4 Nations Cup or something. And it's Canada against the U.S. It's the finals. And I was going to have it on the TV in my office here while we did the presentation, but I'm a poor, and we only have 2 concurrent streams allowed on our streaming service at once. And so We use one, which my wife is doing in the other parts of the Concert Buddy layer, and my father-in-law is probably watching it somewhere else. So I guess I'm we call that shit out of luck. I'm shit out of luck to use my own streaming service. How's that work? Well, you're in for a interesting adventure, fellow vinylists. Let's do some introductions, and then we will talk about music, vinyl, and everything in between. First, the Empire State. The Empire State, Garden State.
Right this time.
Caught me slipping one time because I had New Jersey on my mind for some reason, but never again. Once is enough. You know him. The channel is Fidelios_frequency. Arnaldo, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Concert Buddy, Jeff, and Jason. Thanks for having me.
Always, always. And then one of the more common names in the vinyl community, I think also up there with Mike. We probably should do a straw poll. Jason's, Mike's. There's probably a couple other ones. Jason Rojas. Aloha.
Thanks for having me back on, Concert Buddy.
Always, every time. And then, I don't know if David Bianco's joining us. David had an emergency right before we went to air about his sprinkler system exploded or something like that. So hopefully he got that worked out, because I've had a sprinkler system before, and when those things are on the fritz, it's not a lot of fun. So David hopefully will be with us later. But filling in admirably, returning champion who's been here before, so he knew he had the key. He had the secret handshake. It is Jeff. The channel on YouTube is Vinyl Record Info. Jeff, good evening.
Thanks for having me again. Second time on. Pretty pumped. Thank you.
Good. Well, hey, listen, we're going to have you on more because Music Talk with John, I think he has the most appearances as a guest outside of our regulars. So I think you're maybe one or two appearances left. And then once you get that number one pole position, everyone's chasing you, Jeff. So we're gonna make that happen. 2025 is the year. Awesome. All right. Oh, Travis Foley is here. Hello, Travis. Cheap plug, Metro East Record Show this Sunday, Southern Illinois. Travis runs a great show. You know how much it costs to get in, Arnaldo?
$5.
$0. Zero.
Nice.
No, he doesn't charge to get in, and it opens at 8:30 or a little bit sooner. Table fees are $10. Like, Travis could not put on. Yes, it is standout. Oh, I bet. Well, now
much
Travis,
cheaper than WFMU prices.
No, yeah. That's you have to donate a kidney on the black market to get a table at WFMU. So Travis says you better be there. Well, I'm hoping. I've got a family commitment, Travis. You got to talk to me before you set these calendar things, because I have a in-law operation that I will probably have to participate in. So stay tuned. But I did see you have one in April. I'm definitely in for the April one for sure. Joe Marino. Aloha, Joe. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a minute. Richard James is here. Whoa. We're getting some established people I'm not used to seeing around these parts. It's crazy. Dana Kimbowitz is here somewhere. I saw him, Kimbo. Yeah. Hi, Tom. Hello, Tom. High Rant District. How is this not postponed for USA Canada? You know, we run the show on Thursdays. You would think the sporting world would figure out a way to reschedule the two Thursday night football. That's how I lost Vinyl Richie outside of his troll affiliations. We lost him to the sports scene. So we don't get Vinyl Richie around these parts anymore. Then they do this hockey thing. I think the NFL draft is coming up. I mean, we're just, you got to fight the headwinds when it comes to that stuff. 1-1 at the end of the first period. Thank you, Kimbo, for this. That's the Sports Center update. Appreciate it. All right. Well, everybody's settled in. Everybody has got their, hopefully, beverage of choice. Let us find out. Topic number 1, after I get rid of Kimbo's comment. Bam. In the thumbnail. First of all, did you know who that guy was in the thumbnail? Let's Deus, anybody? Bueller? Did the fella in the thumbnail look familiar? This AI is still not developed. That was Bela Lugosi. Dracula? Okay, well, thumbnail game's emerging. I'm using this artificial intelligence, and it's apparently just falling way short. So Bela Lugosi was the inspiration behind Shady vinyl record sellers. I would say you love them, but nobody loves them. You got to hate them, or you got to just shake your head on them. So I want to go kind of around the dais here and kind of share some questionable, and we don't have to drop names. If you want to drop names, that's up to you. But Arnaldo, I'm going to start with you.
Oh, you started with me.
I have. Well, you want me to wait for the next topic? Is really, I want to warm you up. I want to get you going in a lather because topic number 2 is Arnaldo through and through. So let's get you warmed up. Talk about. Can you share with us what are some of the strangest, shadiest practices you've seen sellers operate under?
Well, not only sellers, there's some shady buyers out there, and we've talked about the shady buyers that exist that populate
True
this
story.
We're not going to repeat it again. So it's not just shady sellers, but also some shady buyers. On Discogs, in terms of sellers, I really have not had that many bad experiences. Actually, I don't think any. There was just one, and it was just an oversight, and they refunded me a portion of it because they incorrectly listed a version of an album. And when I got it, I realized, based on the PNC line on the back, the copyright line, that it wasn't exactly the one. Not a big difference in terms of version of the record. So I didn't really say, hey, I want to return it. I thought I was buying this version instead, not that one. So he just refunded me a part of it. But yeah, the in-person retailers that don't put prices on their records because you have to bring it to the counter, and then it's like, oh, let me check on that. And they quietly look it up or quickly look it up on Discogs to see what the trending price is, and then quote you a price. So that is one.
Bar none, Arnaldo. That is my number one. Because,
but I get that also at record shows, record fairs. There's the box with no prices on it, and I'm like, should I even waste my time flipping through this? And I have walked away once I get through a quarter of the box and I don't see any prices on anything. Then I look outside the box and say, wait, is there a big sticker that I missed on how much everything costs here? And then I just like, okay, I'm not going to waste my time because, yeah, I'd rather than be upfront. It's a matter of honesty, right? And
well, there's stores, and I've seen this in other collectibles. There's actually a video game store not far from me that this first place I ever saw this, that they have a price on it, but then they have a sign at the register. And I've seen record stores do this too at fairs that said prices subject to change.
Whoa.
And so, yeah, so you know, like one of the great things about finding records and collecting them is finding them under price, good value, however you want to position it. Yeah, you take it up to the register, and then they will literally look on whatever the pricing mechanism is, and then they change the price on you. I mean, there's nothing that's more of a swift kick to the nuts.
But you're talking about a record that has a sticker on it.
Yes. Or again,
I don't know. I don't know if it's an unspoken rule, but typically retailers are supposed to honor the price tag that's on the product.
I thought that too, but I guess in this instance, and again, I'm not going to give too much information. I don't want to, be too negative about it. But yeah, I guess in this instance that they had so much stock that I guess they weren't either able to readjust their prices on their overstock or dead stock. And so, yeah, there was literally a thing at the register that said price is subject to change. And I experienced it. They literally brought it up, and I thought I was getting a good deal, and bebop, boobop. Okay, this will be $80 or whatever it was. I was like, whoa, sunrise. I don't think so. So,
and did you put it back?
yeah. I'll go fly a kite. I was like, man.
So I just want to quote another one. Actually, two more examples.
All
right. And this goes back CD era, and we're talking 90s. There was a store that no longer exists in New York. They had a few locations. It was called Discorama, and they were known for putting that compact disc logo sticker, hideous, on the booklet to cover promos that they were getting, and then resealing it So
And
it was
selling them.
sealed with the compact disc sticker on the booklet where it had the gold promo stamp on. But they were selling promos. That's where I would go when I was in college and I didn't have money. So they'd have hole punches, saw cuts, or promo, like something. But for me at the time, it didn't matter because I just wanted the music.
Yeah.
And if I was saving like $5 to $7 from it, from buying it at retail, then I'd be like, I'm fine with that. And in some cases, the promos did not have any type of marking. Yes, the barcode had a little bit of a strike through, like a marker.
With a marker, a knife, or something. Yeah.
Yeah, not even just the marker over it. So I really didn't care for those. And then there were times when it had the hole punch. And then, so that's one. And then the other one, this happened only a few weeks ago. A record store that I will not mention, that I frequent very, very often. And Jason knows about this store. Maybe offline I'll tell you. When I go to pay, it's always a question, cash or credit. And typically, when you pay cash, you don't pay the tax. Some of these retailers haven't understood rule. It's like, if you're paying cash, I'm going to give you a break. Yeah. And most record stores honor that. So I was figuring I didn't have enough money on me to pay cash. I figured I'm not going to get the tax discount, right? Store's about to close. I'm the last person in there, rings me up, and I go outside, and I was actually waiting for Walter to swing by and pick me up. As I'm waiting on the bench, I'm looking through my bag, and I pull out the receipt. And because I did a mental calculation of how much it would cost me. So I was like, that doesn't sound right. I'm like, I think he overcharged me for one of the records. So I'm looking at the receipt. And of course, there's the tax, right? But then there's an admin fee of 3%. It's called admin fee. And I'm like, what the F is this?
Some Ticketmaster bullshit is what that is right there.
Like, these fuckers, not only do they not give you the discount that you'd expect when you're paying my credit, but they pass on their 3% credit card fee. But they're calling it admin fee. Who's ever gone to a place and it says admin fee on there and paid an admin fee for a record store? So gross. I was like, and you know what the rule is? They're allowed to charge you the credit card fee if it's disclosed somewhere. Typically, it happens at restaurants.
Yes.
If at the bottom of the menu or at the front door, there's a sign that says credit card charges are subject to a 3% fee, because you're not supposed to be surprised at the end of your meal with a 3% if you don't know. And so I was like, okay, the next time I go, I'm going to see if there is any type of signage there. So I was just there, I think it was like last week, and there's nothing on the door. And at the counter, I pay close attention that there's a sign there, and which says you can save money if you pay cash. And there's an example. Records, $10, you pay $10. Credit card charge, through credit card, you pay 10 whatever, you know, like 3%, excluding the tax portion. So it's kind of deceiving the way they're phrasing it. And I was like, I guess I missed that sign. But I think that's a little shady, which I think that could be said about any retailer that passes on the credit card fee. It's the cost of doing business. I shouldn't have to pay for it. You know, no one told you to come and open a shop or to open a restaurant. That's it. I said my piece. I'll let everyone else know.
All right. So you wet the whistle, so to speak. Jeff, hopefully you haven't had as much terrible experience as Arnaldo has with the baiting and switching and the price sticker in and an admin fee. That's a new one. That's a new low. What kind of experience have you experienced, be it at record shows, record shops, online? I mean, hopefully there hasn't been too much Shady McGillicuddy thrown your way.
No, I've honestly been
McGillicuddy.
pretty lucky throughout my collecting, and I'm gonna try to compliment sandwich this thing. So
Oh, compliment
will-
sandwich. Oh, yeah.
I will say that due to the popularity of vinyl now, there's just so many more record stores out there that the chances of something shady happening to you increases just by the sheer volume.
Just the law of proportionality. Yeah.
Exactly. You know, like back when I started collecting in like the early 2000s, probably like 03 or 04, right? I mean, I was strictly vets, you know, all the thrift stores, things like that. I never had to worry about it. Seeing a record store was awesome back then, but it just didn't happen, especially where I was from. So, you know, I will say just by the sheer amount of, you know, records on, it's going to run into it. But I got two stories for you. One, my biggest pet peeve is overgrading. I do not like that. I don't mind, because grading is so subjective. And shameless plug, my last video that I just posted is about how to
Drop
grade.
today. It did drop today. I did.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
So, you know, I don't mind when people are a little bit off or, you know, don't get it spot on. But here's an example. So this is a record called Head Over Heels. Awesome early 70s hard rock. If you like that sound, this should be right up your alley. But this is an original white label promo Japanese press. And I won't say who the seller is because it's a very, very popular seller out of Japan that a lot of people probably know. And they said this was near mint. And by looking at it, it does look near mint. This thing looks unbelievably beautiful. But, you know, what's unexcusable to me, anyways, is hopefully I can get it in the light. But there's like some kind of film.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Or something going on. There we go. That's better.
That looks like shit.
It looks like a tiger stripes.
Oh
like,
my.
Probably a couple dozen of them on there, and on this side too. Let me see if I can get it in the light. And you know, that's not near me. You know, like that's not even close. I mean, you can see that even if you're a big distributor, you just take a peek real quick if you're grading records and see that obviously there's something up with that. And you know, I can play it if I put a little more weight on my needle, you know, but you know, you can hear it. And near mint should be such a rare grade that it should be handed out if it's nothing wrong with it. Not even hairlines to me is near mint. So to give a grade like that and then have an issue that egregious, that sucked, obviously. And we'll get to the topic. I think the next topic.
I was going to say, hold that thought because I have
Yeah.
a feeling that's going to bleed into topic 2.
Yeah, it will. I'm going to hold off though. And then the second thing I got is, you know, I was in the Navy. I was an officer in the Navy for 7 years, and I got out last year. But I live in South Carolina now. But I was working on Coronado Island off San Diego, and there's only one record store on Coronado, and it's a record store / antiques, right? It's got a decent amount of. It's called the Attic. Decent amount of records, but they also sell antiques there. And it was one of those situations where the place was really nice. I'm not degrading that at all. Really nice people, everything. The owner of that record store was Jim Morrison's brother-in-law. And he has some crazy stories about him and the Doors and everything. But they have like the price stickers and all their records for like let's just say there's only like $20 and $30 price stickers. That's all they really use. So no matter what the record is, it's $20 or $30. And then if they don't have a sticker on it, you gotta bring it up to the counter and they give you a amount, but they don't use Discogs or anything. They say an amount to where they feel like they're not gonna get ripped off. So if you get anything, it's going to be that's not $20 or $30, it's going to be astronomical. It's never going to be below $20 or $30.
Maybe they're channeling Jim Morrison's spirit from the afterworld to give them the price.
And you know, in Coronado is per capita probably one of the wealthiest places like on earth. So I you know, I can't expect great prices going in there, but I hate the idea of not having a price when I pick up the record. I just don't want somebody to, you know, make that decision at the counter. I just don't love that idea.
Well, a couple of follow-ups, Jeff. PB Thal here. He knows about sound. He was asking if those marks on the vinyl are audible. Is that?
Yeah, they sure are.
Yeah,
like I said, if I put a little more weight on the needle, it makes it a little bit better. But no, I mean those things are, yeah, they're crushing it. So
yeah.
KRWD. I wouldn't mind it if they, you know, if they said, oh, this is a VG copy and a VG plus cover because the cover's so nice, and if they said it was VG. I bought a VG record, but to give us something near mint, in my mind, there should be nothing wrong with it. Like the only thing is that it's open. That's it. You know, like it's not sealed anymore. So I don't know. That grade should only be given out sparingly, I think, and I didn't feel good about that. But yeah.
So KRWD says actually what that looks like it could be is exposed off gassing of PVC. Did it have like one of those kind of PVC sleeves when you got it? Do you know?
Yeah, like all Japanese presses, it had like the poly like rice paper sleeves, and I switched it over to a MoFi sleeve. But
sure.
I don't know. I have no idea. I couldn't tell you.
Well, they're sons of bitches in my eyes, Jeff, and I think that's bad.
Yeah.
Not as bad as the people who, to your point, the people who. This is one of my pet peeves. The people who make up the grading, you know, because I think we've got a pretty good lexicon of VG plus, you know, the people adding the plus sign, VG plus plus. I saw one yesterday for something I was looking at. It was near mint minus. Okay, what does that mean? Near mint minus.
Yeah.
I mean, literally making this shit up. It's
people get a little silly with the pluses and minuses, I think.
Yeah.
And then also, I just don't know how great like the gold mine standard really is for records. I think we're at a point where collectors are so serious about records, and the hobby has gotten so big that we got to get to like a 1 through 10 or like PSA does or something. I don't know
if he's joking or not. I hit the wrong comment. PB Thal says, I prefer to now use Super VG. Well, that sounds about right because anybody can make their own up term. And then when they complain about the condition, you can say, hey, Super VG.
Super VG. Not VG plus, Super VG.
That's right. Does Super VG equal VG plus 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 or just VG plus plus? I don't know. Hard to keep.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Rojas, longtime collector. You've been all over. You've been digging in them bins, getting them dirty hands. I mean, you've been doing this a hot minute. Like, surely you've seen some shady shit over your time.
Of course. I guess it all depends on how badly you want the record, right?
Okay, what do you mean?
If it's a rare record, right? And
all right, fair enough.
You're taking a gamble on that, you know? Good story is a friend called me up, won't mention his name. He wanted to buy an extremely rare record, probably worth, over $1,000, right? And the record is The Monks, right? Black Monk Time. If you know The Monks, that's like a garage rock holy grail, right? 1966, I think. Around the same time, they dressed as monks to play garage rock. Mm-hmm. They played the same clubs in Hamburg, along with the Beatles. You know, of course, there was only one kinds of Beatles, you know, that were going to make it, not these monks. They were not going to make it. So he calls me. Correct. They were in robes, playing guitar. You know, it was intense garage rock. He's like, he calls me up. I'm about to make this deal. Like, I need help. I'm like, what? Need help? Like, how much is it? And then he shared me the Discogs link. I think it was 1.3. Okay. So I was like, okay, if you're going to gamble on this, then we need a couple things, you know, like we need video, audio, you know. If he says it's VG plus plus plus, this is suspect immediately. Mm-hmm. You know, you cannot, you cannot go through this. You know, if you're going to spend 1.3K, right? We need the video and the audio. And I was very specific. I need the audio and the video of the first track, middle track, the track near the inner groove, both sides, and I need all the images, you know. And so once that was shared, and then the email was all forwarded to me, that's when I was, like, I'm more of like, I like to make deals. So I was like, he said 1.3, right? Would he do 1.2? Just out of curiosity. And he did actually take the 1.2. So I was not bad.
All
you
right.
know? But I mean, these things like that sketchiness, right? Like when you're dealing with that, there's some things like a humdinger will not fix. I'm sorry. Like if it's VG, a humdinger ain't going to make that VG plus plus plus.
All right. Marks are marks. It doesn't take the
Correct.
marks away. Yeah.
Right. I mean, now I'm even more strict. Like if I can feel that mark, like
That's a no-go. No.
That's a hell no. Like no matter even it's a rare record, like it kills me, I guess my pet peeves are more about location. If I'm buying a record from South Africa, I can't trust that it's VG plus.
Oh, of course not. Yeah.
I
Or
can't,
Zamrock or something like that.
Correct.
Yeah.
So here's a good example. This is a rare Fela Kuti, VIP. Very important person. No, Vagabonds in Power. So if you look at this cover, this ain't VG plus plus. Not at all. Right? It's been ripped at some point, or had fun. So let's go around the panel. Arnaldo, what would you grade the cover?
The cover? Can I see the back?
Okay. Let's get deep. Let's do it deep. Here we go.
Oh, so it's can you read anything on the spine? Or is it totally disintegrated?
Disintegrated in a fantasy land. If we can take that flux capacitor back.
That's a fair for
Okay.
me.
Oh, okay. Concert Buddy.
I would have said good because is there any splits? That's where the cover looks intact.
No, it's not. It's like a third of the cover is gone.
I mean, well,
look at that. Even the bottom part that's missing pieces.
Yeah. I mean, and it's got the dreaded cut corner too. Okay, yeah, fair plus.
All right. Jeff, what do you think?
That's an African record?
Yes.
Well, in Africa, that is BG plus. Here, all African records. I mean, that if you have a sleeve, that's unbelievable. So, but yeah, I would give that a good, just because it's like everything is at least connected.
Okay. All right. So
can I ask Jason,
what was this graded?
What did they advertise it as?
BG plus.
Come on.
Now
That's
the record.
That is tough.
The record, unbelievably, like I'm sorry that happened to you, Jeff, with that one record you shared. Like that's a disgrace. But the record is VG plus.
Oh, nice.
Hey.
I know, like this, amazing, actually, just amazing. I cleaned it, played it.
That's what matters. You don't play the cover.
Right.
Oh, Arnaldo, that's a record store owner's favorite saying. Come on, my man Billy Hurst says it all the time.
That's not my favorite saying. It's someone else.
I know.
He's not here tonight. He's sleeping.
So I mean, the thing is, like, it's going to be hard to get this, So the seller was wrong, right, about the cover. The record, no, So they overgraded the cover, right?
Fair enough. Now Vinyl Piper is a fervent collector, and he calls that a poor plus plus. So poor plus plus has now entered the ring. I mean,
for Vinyl Piper, we'll throw this in the humdinger.
Yeah, they need a humdinger for covers. Can we? I mean, guys, I think this is it. We need we've got 3D printers, we've got wood burners. I mean, there's all this kind of newfangled technology. We need to, if we could do album jacket reproductions like repros.
Well, in the humdinger with a dryer sheet,
The dryer sheet fills in the gap. I like it. Well, anything else to contribute, Jason?
Well, I'm just saying, like, it's just a gamble. Like, unless you're going to be at the record show and you're not, to have that wiggle room. Otherwise, like, you're just taking a gamble. Like, the last thing I want to show is, like, this thing right here. This is Africa. This is Demon Fuzz, right? One of the coveted,
sure,
right?
That's a good one.
Kind of like Afro rock, and some hints of like psychedelic, right? This cover, it's got a lot of ringware, You
It
know,
does. It's the
I
embodiment
mean,
of ring wear.
like, how would we grade this, Arnaldo? How would we do this?
It's got ring wear, but unlike the other one, there aren't pieces of it that were ripped off. So for me, this is good.
Okay. Concert Buddy.
Any tears? I'm always big on tears. Splits or tears?
There's
Yeah.
There's a piece at the
yeah,
bottom that's
it's the-
missing.
yeah.
Yeah. So and it's
It's
got some
still a,
waviness, so you got moisture issues. I would say good.
Okay.
I
Good.
call it good, and that's being generous.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Jeff. Good. Okay.
So how was this advertised, Jason?
This is graded as VG. Mm. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say the record is VG, you know? So
If they
this
said
is
G
where
plus, I wouldn't have been mad, but VG, that's tough. That's
correct.
Tough. Yeah.
But I mean, we're talking about now rare record that's, you know, a bit expensive, you know?
Yeah,
What I'm
yeah.
saying? This one especially, right?
Yeah. That was awesome.
Jason, ringwear and ringworm. There was no ringworm
my
attached to this
gosh.
purchase, was there? Okay.
Man. Wow. Oh, I mean, definitely does sound like a demon fuzz. Let's be honest here.
But it's on that Janus. That's like what Simandy is on the Janus.
Yeah, maybe I will make a video comparison. I have the UK Samande, and I will do that for somebody if they're interested. Like, there's actually a major difference between the UK and the US. Janus.
They're actually, speaking of Simandy, they're touring right now. They're doing limited.
Yes.
They were just in Chicago this week. I was very jealous because I saw Mike Hutchins went.
They were in New York a few days ago at Irving Plaza.
Yeah, they're only playing the big cities. They
I was also offered tickets and I couldn't go.
Sadness.
I know, right?
Jasmine might call that VG minus plus. Do we think that is a?
I don't know, Mike. I don't know. No, I don't know. No.
Let me ask you this question, Jason. When you're discussing these real rare records with the out of country sellers, do you do the stunty? Do you ask for pictures? Do you give them like the preamble of checklists of things to see before you do the deal?
Yeah, I try to make it simple though, like pictures, audio, and here's the
audio
address, and have at it. You know, and usually they'll send me that stuff, you know, and then that's when I do the wiggle room, right? That's when I try to haggle this.
You do the Rick Harrison. Yeah, now you've seen its faults, and now you're just going to chop that tree and see how much.
Of course. I mean, the thing is, like, they're just going to say yes or no, you know, and I guess that's what you can try, you know. If they say no, then it's a no. No problem. You know? Poor Demon Fuzz.
Yeah, I've seen reissues. I've never seen the original in the flesh. Now, Spins Vinyl, speaking on behalf of Groove Seeker, that's Chris, Big Chris, he would never let that cover into his house. I guess Chris is very particular.
But I'm pretty sure Groove Seeker, he'd love to hear this. So
he'd love to hear it. He'd love to hear it.
Come here and be rocking that VG, and then I'd be like, can we throw it to the, humdinger? You know, like, I don't know. Maybe with the dryer sheet, right?
Is that a U.S. pressing?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So this is a good question, guys. Mm-hmm. So Orange Margin asks, does everyone agree that a sleeve cannot be near mint with a corner cut, a hole punch, a saw cut, a notch, etc.? Arnaldo, I'll start with you. Where do you land on this one?
In my opinion, if there is nothing else wrong with it, like corners are crisp, no dents, no seam splits, no creases, the only thing that's there is the hole punch or the saw cut. For me, it's near mint.
Wow, Jeff, where do you land?
And if I were to sell that, I would disclose as a near mint, does it have a corner cut or a hole punch? Everything else is as if it just came out of the seal.
What say you, Jeff?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, sometimes saw or hole punch is kind of part of the charm of it, because you know that it was maybe not selling that great, so they can't return it back to the the wholesaler. So it's kind of like like back in the early 70s, this record may have not sold well, but now I have it and I love it. So it's kind of part of the charm for me. Do you guys get into like for hole punches, is that promo for you?
Sometimes it can be a promo because the way of making promos was to punch a hole through the barcode. So
yeah, but if there's no barcode, right? And
well, usually back in the day, what was it, 60s and 70s, there was always a stamp, like a gold stamp or some kind of stamp.
Or some of them even had just the impression stamp, right? Like where they, like, especially on like the early like poppy stuff, they would.
I've seen that a lot with sellers, and I always try to correct it because I'm a big first press white label promo guy. Like, I love promos. I collect promos. I wish my whole collection was promos.
Sure.
And I see some records being sold as promos that just have a corner hole punch. And to me, that's not a promo.
It can be. In my opinion, it can be, but it's an overstock.
Every hole punch does not mean that it's a promo record.
No.
Yeah, I would just call it a hole punch. Like, I think people who just say hole punch and don't try to like make it up, unless they're the one that punched the hole themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, this just goes as a hole punch and don't even try to.
I've seen that more and more lately of people saying that those are promos, and you know,
I think that's lazy selling. Quite honestly, I think that's them just trying to juice up the price by calling it a promo without the gold stamp, without the impression stamp, without any kind of markings whatsoever. It's kind of lazy. What about you, Jason? We'll round out this topic with your take on that. If it's cut corner, hole punch, saw cut, can it climb to a near mint in your assessment?
That's debatable.
It's a good question. Orange Margin coming in clutch.
I know. I mean, you caught me on a good mood, so maybe, yeah, maybe. But promo, so add $50 more, right?
That's the rub. Now, Tom Hiring District doing some homework. He says, and this is from Goldmine, the standard bearer, allegedly. Quote, covers with cutout markings can never be considered near mint, end quote. It is not ambiguous.
What about Discogs? Can we pull up?
That's a Wild Wild West. I mean that's the one where they make
they have a guideline somewhere on this. Of what a mint, near mint, and the grading.
They do. In fairness, they do. But
I don't know if the saw cut
BG plus, there's like 8 pluses. I mean, some of these fools are just literally making it up as they go along. It's unbelievable.
Hole punch notch cut doesn't really bother me that much. So.
It used to bother me at first because I was just such a condition snob.
Yeah.
And then eventually, like, once I learned and once you educate, and to your point, guys, like, some of these records were like discounted back in the day, and now they're very like in vogue, or people have appreciated the music over time. Plus the limited release of them. Think of Rodriguez, Cold Facts, a great example. And now they've aged well. I've kind of grown to be hey, it's part of the patina, to quote.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So this is a great transition. We call this a segue or a segue, depending on what part of the country you're on. And this is a similar vein about returning records. Now, this is oh shit, you got it. And it's got a hole punch. Look at that. Nice. Look at this. That's my label right there, Jeff. Jeff, you just won potentially Deus member of the prize. Yeah, right there.
Ooh.
Yes, sir.
Boom.
Yeah, sorry, Rob, Northern Revolution. Sorry, the Rob he's hot for that one. And mine's still in shrink. It really upsets him, but that's a great record. Anyway, all right. Similar vein of Shady vinyl record sellers are returning records. And sadly, this was a topic that we had for the last A-side, and we were going to go with it right up until press time. And then that record store day list leaked. It leaked, and we had to pivot. So this is one that was brought the paddles back because I thought it had flown well, and Arnaldo asked for it because he has got some hot takes on returning records. You've obviously heard the one story with our dubious friend. It was talk about soap opera, listening and Arnaldo taking us through the walk of that scammer. So Arnaldo, I think I'm going to open it up and say there's been more nonsense when it comes to returning records. First of all, returning a record is that common for you, or is it something that is extreme case?
Yes.
Okay.
Because my standards have been elevated quite a bit.
All right, do tell.
Depending on the uh, quality. I don't even know if we want to call it quality of the recording of all of these audiophile labels. The more they charge, the more I expect it to be almost.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes,
So,
higher price, higher expectation. Yes, all that stuff. Thank you.
and then there are a few labels that have really annoyed the hell out of me, and we'll name it Blue Note Classic, where behind that optimal pressing, they
Cover
think
your ears, Groove Seeker.
that everything is going to be perfect. Lately, I have returned or requested a replacement for several Blue Note Classic because they have non-fill, they are warped, and I don't care if I paid $25 for it or $29, whatever. Or even if I got it at the half price UMG sale. It's unless, because I try to send the message that it's not acceptable, and you as a manufacturer are being duped and overcharged by Optimal because they're charging you a price hiding behind their quality stamp rather than going to another cheaper record manufacturer. And the more, and probably that's the reason why they ask for a proof, like pictures or sound or video, so that if they build a case, I think hopefully they'll straighten out what their manufacturing issues are. And that's what I'm hoping for, is that by returning it or by putting in a claim, that it gets fixed down the line.
So, devil's advocate, though, do you think
Yes.
they're also putting the customer through like a maze to see how badly they want to return the record? Meaning, here are the hoops you have to jump through.
I don't know. It's possible. It's possible that they are, but that's one case. And then we're talking about the cosmetics of the record. A tip-on jacket, Stoughton, that you're upcharging for, it better arrive without a dinged corner or a seam split.
I call it store quality. That's the expectation, right? Especially on new vinyl. Like if I don't go to the store, I don't go to my local record store and they've got a big corner smash and I take it and I hug it. You know what I'm saying? Like the expectation doesn't matter if you choose your boxes wisely, but that's on the shipper, that's on the seller, that's on the manufacturer. If that's the kind of crap they're sending our way.
Yeah. But so again, it depends on. I've become a lot pickier. For some reason, Amazon, at least for me, I want to say they ship pretty well. They have that mailer inside the box. So I think they do a pretty good job at shipping it whenever I buy something. But then you have professionals like record labels and D2C companies or web stores that do that for a living that still haven't figured out how to ship records, which annoys me. I'm like, this is what you do for a living. You should, you should perfect your product. Like at the beginning, the debacle with Rhino, High Fidelity, how they were using U-lines to ship records. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yes. That was a colossal failure. I'm even looking at my Interscope record collective when I got my Dr. Dre U-line. Now it's a nice black U-line. Like they really wanted to go over style over substance on this one, but my nice Chronic alternate cover, alternate whatever, it was just smoked out, like in a bad way. It wasn't a good smoke. It was Ding City smash, and it's a premium product. To Arnaldo's point, you're charging a premium price. There should come with that a premium expectation for a premium product, and it's just not happening. So Jeff, I saw you nodding a little bit, talking about returning records. This can also encompass like you bought a record at a store and you took it home, and go back to the grading thing. It's got little surfs up. You're talking about the Isle of Coronado. You got any of those records with some big waves that you weren't really expecting?
Yeah, I mean, I don't buy new records really, just because that's just not my thing. But I would be more upset if I bought something new and there was damage to it. I would definitely return it. Now maybe it's because I'm recently separated from the military and trained not to complain, but I don't return records. I don't. I eat it.
Wow.
I eat it every time, and
As evidenced by that one that we
yeah,
just
I mean,
saw.
I still have my head over heels, but I just don't. I usually just eat it and just move on with my life. And like I said, in the used space, like if I'm going, like I'm going for a first press or a promo, if something happens with it, or they overgraded it or whatever, I just I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it was just a mistake or something like that. But I don't really buy new records. The only new records I ever get are the Noble Records exclusives. I try to get every one of those,
Sure.
and everything he puts out is quality. I've never had an issue with any of the shipping there. So I just don't buy new. So I would, but if I did though, and there was something wrong, that is the time where I would return it, because again, that should be a mint record, nothing wrong with it at all. And if you shipped it poorly or pressed it poorly, that's grounds for returning, I think.
Jeff, hang around us complainers long enough, and we will convert you to the right side of the force. Okay.
I will not eat cat poop.
That's right, Ron Burgundy. We're not going to eat cat poop, and Jeff is not going to just keep taking these damaged records. No more. We're gonna fix them. We're gonna fix them. All right, Rojas, please. There's got to be time. Like, is there a point where you will accept a record that you've, and I'm assuming it's probably, I don't know, maybe stores too. Like, how do you feel about returning records in general? And do you have any examples of just took that shit straight back?
I try to make sure that the record store I'm at has a listening station. I know that's
Smart.
tough, but I don't want to be in that position because I've been burnt, right?
Now, that's mostly used though. You don't have them open up new stock.
No. But I mean, there was only a few times where it was like a new record and then it was bad and I took it back and they, I'm like a loyal shopper. So then they'll even take it out and inspect it. It's fine, but I'm not really like Jeff. I'm not really buying too many new records, but I mean, I'm hoping that there is a listening station, like I wouldn't, it's kind of funny at the local store, like they see me and they trust me. Like I'm holding a stack. I go to the listening station like it's a library. I'm like, you would laugh. Like I'm just like,
They bring you a cup of water because they know you're going to be a while.
Sure, and I'm like just like listening and like laughing sometimes. I tried to hold it, like looking at the price, looking at the condition, and like under my breath, like in your dreams, like yeah, like Fantasyland, sure, yeah. Like you want $50 for this? This is not even the right pressing, like that you're saying on this paper. What a joke, But it happens, I mean, I have to say, like, man, Jeff, like, you're really like suffering in silence by hitting, taking the return, by not returning it, man.
You heard him. You can blame Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam conditioned this guy to just take it.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I'm right or it's good. I wish I did return face up to these people who return them, but I'm just like, I don't know. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt and eat it. So,
well, Jeff, can I follow up on that? Is there a price point that let's say you bought a I don't know, above $50 record, $50 to $100, I don't know. Is there a price point that you would be like, you know what? Now it's a matter of principle, and this doesn't sit well with me. Like if you got like I'm making it up, rare promo, something you've been hot for a while, it's misgraded, like whatever the reasons are, and then of course it's warped or what have you. Then and only then would you be like, you know what? I'm putting my foot down. I'm now ex-military. Damn it, sending this back. What would we get you finally?
I think anything over like $400, I would maybe
okay.
500. Actually, if I'm being honest with myself, anything 500 or over, I would.
All right, listen, we're making progress. A couple more shows at 500 is going to be about $5. You're gonna.
Luckily, I've never run into that, so hopefully it never does. But,
well, usually when I like at the listening station, if there's something wrong, like I'll ask them, if they're hearing this on the main station, and they'll play it, and when there's something wrong, and then that's when that price do you see what I'm saying? Like I'm able to.
Yeah.
Okay, now that was 30 and then there was something wrong. So now it became, 25 or 20. And then I'm okay, right? I'll take the risk.
99 out of 100, they're just visually grading it anyway. So
correct.
When you listen to it and you say, hey, there's clearly some noise here, that should be a bargaining chip because, it's no longer that grade they said it was. The true grade, so.
I just wanted to add one thing. I was mostly talking about new records. When it comes to used records, I think I've really only returned.
You don't have to feel bad. This is not good. This is not a good trait, Arnaldo.
No, I've only returned once, and it was very glaring because Jason was there when I remember what WFMU last year when I bought the Sgt. Pepper from the French guy, and it looked fantastic. It looked like it was visually graded very well. Like it was very truthful. And when I played it at home, it had groove wear. It's like it was impossible. There were no scratches.
WFMU changed all the light bulbs on you, Arnaldo. I know it. I saw them up there when I was there. They're changing the light bulbs to really mess with us now.
Yeah, and I had told him about it, that it did not. And he's like, well, next time I'm going at the other fair, just bring it. And I don't think it was that one. It was maybe another record, but I had another issue and he had no problem taking it back, but very rarely, because a lot of the times, and there's just one record store, which I'm very friendly with. The few times that I did get something that was not up to what I wanted, he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Just bring it back. Like he would apologize and be like, oh, I'm sorry. That happened. Just bring it back. So yeah, it all depends. Most of the time you buy something at a record fair, you just have to write it off at the end. If it's not.
I was gonna say, good sellers usually will make good, right? I think that's a good axiom. Now Terry's here. Shout out to Terry at Tap Records. So I've taken back records to some of our local Austin stores. They make good on returns if it's damaged. That's really what you should do.
What happens when you don't have the opportunity to play test it at a record fair?
Arnaldo, I know what you're getting, guys.
You're not going to see the guy again.
Arnaldo's birthday, Sound Burger. Let's go. We can get him. Arnaldo's going to be the guy with the sound burger.
Around with the sound burger. And you know what? Last year I went to a record fair in Long Island. There was this one dealer that had a portable record player. And I was about to get the Donald Fagen Kamakiriad, which is very hard to come by. And I played it. I'm like, this is not what I want. I'm not going to enjoy it. Even if it's below what it should go for, right? I'm not going to enjoy the record. Even if I'm getting it at half price of what it's really goes for, it's like, I'm not going to settle, But it's rare that a record table, like a record dealer, has a record player there for you to listen to the records.
There's a question from Henry. I don't, doesn't apply to me, I guess. Does anyone return their 78s? For me, I only have 178, and so no, because that was a record store day one. Guys, 78s. Jeff, you're already out of this. You don't return records. You just take it.
You bite the bullet. Man.
You bite the bullet. You're
the Beach Boys
either we need to set an example for you, or we need to learn from your example. We're going to figure this out by the end of the show.
You have the Beach Boys one, right? Good Vibrations. That's the only one that I have.
Oh, 78.
That plays at 78. It's a 10-inch that plays at 78 that I can't even play anymore.
So John Moreno's here. He says visual inspection can be deceiving. Sometimes a record looks bad but plays great, or the opposite is true. Especially older records, like they just made them better. I'm just gonna be honest. Like they just made them better back then. Even Feelies, right? Like Jason was talking about Feeling Marks. Some records I've bought, I've taken it. It's a $5 record. Sure, Hard Day's Night. Can get a couple Feelies. I'll try it, and those things play like a champ.
Yeah, it's weird. I have some that are covered in hairlines, and you think there was nothing wrong with it at all. So just depends.
It's a wild game. All right, guys. Well, we have come to the conclusion of hour one. This is what we call podcast proper. So this will be out after, literally, give it a little bit. This will be out after the live broadcast. So check your local listings. want to thank my guests. Stick around. We've got some call it the freestyle, some call it overtime. We're working on branding. I know Tom, High Rant District, he's really upset because sometimes when we come in with the topics, Tom, and rightfully so to a degree, questions that as a true freestyle. But we're playing for time here. So I thank my guests. Second time on the dais. More to come. The channel is Vinyl Record Info. New video dropped today. Is Jeff. Jeff, good to have you.
Thank you.
And then right next is Jeff. Jason Rojas. Always a pleasure.
Thanks for having me on, Concert Buddy.
And then he's always here first. I'm gonna be honest. He's always the first one in the dais. He's ready. He's focused. He's even got. Arnaldo's wearing like almost military fatigue color. He's got like this olive thing. Was that in honor of Jeff? Jeff, were you in the Army?
No, I didn't know that
Navy?
he was in the military.
Okay. All right, he's a Navy guy, so you didn't need all the green fatigues. But the Arnaldo channel is Fidelius_frequency. Appreciate
Always
you
a
coming.
pleasure joining the gang. And thanks for having me. I'll see you in the next one.
All right. So now we do a little, we'll call this the costume change, where literally all we do. Jeff, you ready for some magic? Can I show you a magic trick? You ready, Jeff? Right now at the bottom of the screen, you are seeing Surface Noise with an A, a colored A. It's the new branding technique that we have on this. Now I just need to find a 1 and a 2. Pow. We now added the word freestyle to the banner. This is the freestyle. Thanks for sticking around. One thing I wanted to talk about, and I'm not sure if everybody got a taste of this, but it's going to open up a bigger conversation, hopefully. And Tom, don't kill me because it's not a freestyle. This is a loaded topic. I'm going to be honest. Was watching the SNL 50 concert Friday evening because I'm an old and my days of going out on Fridays, looking for love in all the wrong places or just drinking my calories. I'm over that period of my life. But I watched this and I didn't even pay enough attention. Like I knew SNL 50, the celebration was the weekend, and I knew there was music. I didn't understand the concept. I didn't pay enough attention to know that the concert was Friday night and then the show was Sunday night. And I joined about an hour in because I don't even know what I was doing. I think actually, I know there's a couple jazz bums here. I think I was kind of creeping on the jazz bum stream for a little bit. That's a true story. But then I realized, oh, this thing's live. And so I went over to Peacock because for some reason they decided a good idea, I guess because of the commercial element, because there's already going to be a long show and it's pretty set up schedule-wise. And so they had it on Peacock. And it was a pleasant surprise. I'll just say that. It was really great performances, a very diverse offering. There were some skits, the SNL people came in there. And it got me thinking, was that the best TV concert ever? And here's some of the things that happened. You had Fred Armisen sat in to play drums on not just the B-52s, but also a Devo. Devo did not do Whip It, which little critique. You had Mumford & Sons do one of their standards, and then they did the Boxer, Paul Simon song. You had, Jack White closed the show, killed it. Eddie Vedder did a Tom Petty song, and then he did Corduroy, Pearl Jam song with the Roots. Shout out to the Roots, first of all. The Roots were the backing band on most of the performances. Killed it, like unbelievable. Like Questlove, very good drummer. The guitar player in the Roots was really just big stones. And then you had Cher. I mean, it was just kind of all over the place. So, and then I don't even have to talk about the Nirvana post Nirvana situation, which we were kind of texting about in real time. And I got to be honest, I know Vinyl Piper is here. Vinyl Piper was there. And Vinyl Piper probably, I know he saw the Fire Aid thing from a week or two ago. I thought that it was underwhelming. I thought the Nirvana thing I know they do the thing about the lady singers because that Kurt always thought the band would be better fronted by a female. I just can't go there. But I said at the time to people in the know, man, if they came out with Post Malone, because Post Malone did that Nirvana tribute thing during COVID where did covers with Travis Barker on drums in a different room and some other guys, and I thought it was admirable. I didn't have an opinion of Post Malone up to that point, and then I just saw it on a hunch, and I was pleasantly surprised. So coming out of that, I was like, man, if they ever did anything Post Malone, sign me up. And so they did Teen Spirit, which he did not do in the live stream in 2020 or whenever that was. So, oh man, I watched that 5 times that night. I'm not even kidding. I was just like, what did I see? Because you could see Dave smiling, Pat Smear smiling, Chris Novoselic just getting into it. And I was like, man, this is beautiful. So anyway, I've rambled on enough. Guys, thoughts? Because there's been some great TV concerts. And I think the one that everyone probably has up on the pedestal is Live 885, where you had 2, concerts going simultaneously. Well, I guess they stagger them for TV, but all the shows in the U.S. Was it Washington, D.C.?
Philadelphia.
Sorry, that was my second guess. And then obviously
Stadium.
So obviously Arnaldo, I think I already know what you're going to say because of the Philly guy. I mean, was Live Aid still the championship belt of live concerts?
Yes, but I was in Europe at the time, so.
Oh.
Yes, so I was still a kid, relatively. I was there ready with my setup, trying to tape as much as I could, because that concert was not available for like 30 years for copyright and licensing reasons.
Yeah, of course.
They didn't even think about getting all the rights waived from the artists. So I think it became available in the late 90s, became available on DVD. But yeah, for me, that was amazing. Like you had, I think, was it Status Quo kicked it off in London, and the London concert was great. I think I watched more of the London concert because it was on pretty much my time zone. So but I stayed up all late on that night to catch all the Philly concert. But I think that there were some artists that nailed it. It's a shame that Paul McCartney's mic went out, his feed went out during Let It Be. But Queen brought the house down. I think one of the greatest performances
period
captured on live TV was Queen's performance at Live Aid. And I think I heard, Elton John says, "How do I follow you guys now?" As they were coming off stage, he was one of the final acts to come on. And they really turned it out. And from the US, from the Philly side, who had a really great set?
It was U2 on the Philly side. I feel like
no, that was the UK.
Was the UK?
That was another great set.
It had to be Hall and Oates. Daryl Hall and John Oates.
Hall and Oates was towards the end. I know they did. Dylan was on with Keith Richards, I want to say, because the Stones were there. They didn't play together. Mick Jagger sang with Tina Turner. Keith Richards was there, but I think he played guitar with Dylan, or I forgot who exactly who. There were some very memorable performances.
Was James Brown at that one?
I don't remember.
Yeah. I remember a story about him.
You're missing the big one was the Led Zeppelin reunion with 2 drummers, and it was so sloppy. It was it's incredible.
Because I don't remember it, it must not have been that good.
Oh, no.
I remember Robert Plant being there, but I totally forgot that he played with Jimmy Page.
Yeah, it was Led Zeppelin reunion. It was Tony Thompson, Phil Collins on drums. It was too much. Yeah. You can watch it online. Right,
because Phil Collins flew from.
He did both. He did both, right?
He did both.
Yeah.
And Tony Thompson was on drums?
Yeah.
Wow. I totally forgot. Now I have to go Google that.
Most people don't know, like Led Zeppelin, they were going to decide to have Tony Thompson on drums do a tour. And then it was just the 80s, maybe too much cocaine.
Because Power Station also played it from Philly.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
but they didn't have Robert Palmer. They had the other guy.
No, they had, what was his name?
It's Michael DeBars, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. John Bibop Boom. This guy knows some shit. Keith and Ron backed up
Yeah.
Dylan and cut into dog food commercial. It was a shambles.
I
Yeah, because
remember that.
MTV was showing the pure feed, and then who was it, ABC or whoever was doing the network feed. Of course, they had to throw in commercials, because there's a fundraiser. But hell, let's get our cut too. And yeah, what a joke. Oh man. Oh, now Felipe, this is a controversial take. Felipe's probably had some sauce when he says this. Phil Collins wanted to bore both continents. Felipe, that's sacrilege. It's Philip Collins you're talking about. Come on now. Wow.
He's a legend,
Yeah, and especially in his own mind. I mean, come on, what's his past? So talking about the Philly portion, I pulled up the power of the internet. So talking about Live Aid '85, you had the Zeppelin pseudo reunion. Phil Collins, he performed in London earlier the day, then flew to Philly. Madonna performed with the Thompson Twins. Oh shit! And Nile Rodgers, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Duran, Crosby, Stills and Nash, the Pretenders, and the Beach Boys. The Beach Boys. I mean, that's a pretty stacked situation. I mean, some other kind of concerts I was thinking about too, if you're talking about best TV concert. I mean, think about the Unplugged series, like the Nirvana Unplugged, Signature, the Jay-Z Unplugged was great. Even they just put it on vinyl finally. Was it last year? The 10,000 Maniacs Unplugged, Chef's Kiss, Bernie G on that one. And then even stuff like Austin City Limits, that concert series. You guys remember that Stevie Ray Vaughan performance where he's just like shredding it up and the guitar string breaks?
That I never saw.
And he just keeps playing it until they bring him a new guitar. It's amazing. And then the other one I'll kind of throw in there because where I come from on the SNL piece is like that's just top to bottom, right? Like nothing compares to the Queen performance of Live Aid. Like that's the signature performance. But top to bottom, this SNL thing, this is red hot. Another one that I think was good, but it's more about the singular performance. 2004, Cleveland, Ohio, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. George Harrison goes in. You know where I'm going with this? Prince, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, and guitar, and Prince owned it so well that literally at the end of the show, at the end of the performance, he threw his guitar in the air. No one knows where the guitar went. It just continued to ascend. And that's true. No one literally knows where the guy. Ask Danny Harrison. Like no one knows where that guitar went. He literally just owned it, and then he just unbelievable. So, any other things I'm missing? I mean, Jason Rojas, what other TV concerts are up there in your mind?
TV concerts. I don't know. TV concerts. I don't know. I can't
Prince
say.
is overrated. Just want to throw that out there.
Well, it's just like it's tough, right? Unless you're there, I hate to say when you're there. Like I know most people like are not. I don't know if they're into new music, but when I saw, oh my gosh, Chapel Roan, like when I saw her live at ACL Festival last year, that was probably like what the hell? Like she has everything, the voice. The presence, everything. She owned that crowd, like just demolished it. Like it blew my mind. And I've never seen Amy Winehouse before. And I was like, so this is what it's like to hear some person who can project, sing, improvise, do everything, And I was just like, man, okay, so I need to get out of here during the encore so I can beat traffic. That was also on my mind.
That's smart. That's the long game. I can appreciate that.
Groove Seeker, Chris brought up the 9/11.
The 9/11 concert. Yeah, that's probably a good one.
I remember watching that, and obviously I'm a big David Bowie fan, but the thing that just remained in my memory is David Bowie alone on stage with this little electronic instrument that he was playing, and he did a version. I think he opened the show with his version of Simon and Garfunkel's America. Don't know if you guys remember that. It was amazing.
I mean, Michael Jackson also performed at that presentation, if I remember correctly.
He did?
I think. No.
I don't remember that.
No, maybe not. I get it confused. Again.
I like Paul Breakfast King over here, Woodstock 99. What are you trying to...
Oh, come on. That was on closed circuit TV. Come on, Paul. We're talking about it was more accessible than that. I mean, this is actually a good question. Let me get Jeff back up here. Woodstock 99 or Woodstock 94?
Woodstock 94.
Yes. Yeah, Woodstock 99 seemed like a wild time.
Well, yeah, because All right,
Not a good way.
let's set the stage here, right? 94 was the 25th anniversary, right? So it was done very like in tune with celebrating the original, and you had a lot of the hot bands back then. Talk about James Brown. You're asking about James Brown earlier, Jeff. He was there. Jeff, he was one of the first
Maybe
guys.
that's what I was thinking of actually, because that's when he was like, "I'm not going on before anybody," and his manager was like, "Can you please go on?" And they're like, no. He's like, "No, I'm not doing it." And then he went on and crushed it. So
Yeah. I mean, James was a showman, but I mean, you had that was when Green Day were ascending. They had, I think that was the one that was raining, and they had the big mud performance, and
Yeah.
I mean that's a signature performance. Gosh, who else? I mean, '94 is just loaded, but then here comes the redheaded stepchild in '99, which was a complete cash grab. It was on a like retired military base, so it's like predominantly on concrete. It's hotter than Hades. They're charging $12 or something for a bottle of water, and
Yeah.
you know, obviously, then they did. It kind of killed the franchise. It killed the Woodstock brand because there was fires that broke out at the end. People were so pissed. There were overflowing toilets. It was just a disaster. So, yeah, a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. But 94.
So who was your favorite performance at SNL 50 then?
Good question. I mean, I'm going to mark out and say the Post Malone thing because my wife said that they'd already announced it, or at least there was a leak of the run a show that she had seen. So it wasn't a surprise to her. But I'm like literally sitting on my couch, and Sandler gets up there, and you know, I like the surprise element, right? Like I appreciated like when Cher came out, didn't see that one coming. I mean, that was a lot of fun. But yeah, Sandler gets up there and talks about, you know, this band came on and they were just hitting their stride, and the lead singer was like a, you know, killer and all this kind of stuff. And then it says post Nirvana, and I'm like, no. And again, I was talking about before, I was like, man, if Post Malone could do some of those guys, that'd be pretty special. And then they did Teen Spirit, and it was not terrible. It wasn't like the best thing I've ever heard, but it was, you know, and this is kind of, maybe this is kind of where this conversation goes. Because coming out of that, then the hot rumor was 2026. Allegedly, they're already looking at arenas potentially for taking this show on the road.
Mm.
How would we feel about that? Arnaldo, I see you're very skeptical. Like, do you leave it alone? Is it a nice little one-off? Or
Jeez,
is
concert
this...
button. You thought the toilet overflowing in Woodstock '99 was bad. The hell, man. Come on now.
Well, you're talking to somebody who went to oh my God, what is it called? What's the Central Park one? Global Citizen.
Global Citizen.
Like 5 years ago, Adam Lambert and Queen were headlining. I like Adam Lambert. He's not Freddie Mercury.
No.
But I had to go. And as I was listening and watching the other guys that were still like Brian May and Roger Taylor, it felt surreal because I thought I would never hear those songs played live with them on stage, even though two of them are gone, like one retired and the other one dead. Mm-hmm. It was still a great show. And Adam Lambert is not Freddie Mercury, nor is he trying to be. But sure. I think that's why I liked it more, that he wasn't imitating. He's very talented. He has a lot of stage presence, and he can command, you know, an act in front of like Queen. I don't know about Post Malone. I didn't see that. I want to try and find the performance and see how he did. But Kurt Cobain was the heart and soul, the brain of Nirvana, in my opinion.
Sure. So
to do it without him, that's my opinion.
It's tough. No, I'm with you because I wrestle with it. And I know Jason's obviously, I already know where he lands on this. I mean, Jason, is this like the worst idea since like, you know, white underwear? I mean, is this where this lands? Or?
Well, I mean, they got to have fun too. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to play, you know, they're going to do these special things. Like if you're a 90s band right now and you're not having a reunion, you're not touring.
Bad idea.
You're missing out. You're like, I don't care. Like Jane's Addiction, they need to like get a therapist.
Get over it. This is it. This is the last time to get that cheddar, guys.
Correct.
Come on.
Correct.
Yes.
You know.
And we also have to see. Walter just gave me a hint what Courtney Love thinks about it.
Well, as long as she
she's
gets
going to have
cut.
something to say.
Hey, as long as
She always has
CTC cut
something
that
to say.
check. Cut that check. She don't. I mean, does she want to open up for him? I mean, does she want a whole opening up for post Nirvana? I mean, yeah, I don't know. Andy G brings up a good one before we get back on this. And the Taylor Hawkins tribute concert was really good. They had, I think, 2 of those. They had one in LA, and I think there was one. Was it overseas? Yeah, because it was at Wembley, wasn't it? I feel like it was, but yeah, that was fun.
Vinyl Piper was posting a lot of the behind the scenes stuff at SNL 50. Was
yeah,
cool.
he was there. Like this guy. Yeah. This guy he's a world traveler. Like I saw he was in New York, and then Jose Moreno Round, shout out to Jose. He put 2 and 2 together for me. And yeah, I didn't know that Vinyl Piper was literally working it, and lucky SOB.
Yeah. You know what was kind of sad during it? What's kind of bummed me out is that I felt like Paul McCartney kind of like showed his age.
Talking about on the Sunday show, yeah.
You know, like I felt like, well, whoa. Paul McCartney's he's geezed up. He's getting pretty old, and I don't know. It's kind of bummed me out. I was like, oh man, he's old.
So hear ya. But okay, so you have the bookends of the Paul. So you had Paul Simon open that show with Sabrina Carpenter, and then you had Paul McCartney close it. And yeah, the guys were showing their age, but then you remember this is a 50th anniversary of this TV show. It's the law of averages, you know, like not everyone can be Stevie Nicks. Like this is in a world of Pauls, not everyone's a Stevie Nicks.
I totally get it. It bums you out, you know.
It
Paul
does.
McCartney's all old.
But the same
I guess
argument.
you guys missed that meme. You were missing that meme, right? Like somebody sent me the meme of Paul Simon and Sabrina Carpenter. They were like, Garfunkel looks good. Out of here.
I saw a picture of Paul McCartney and Paul Simon actually talking together backstage.
Yeah, both those guys are like BFFs at Lauren. Like Lauren, I think if you remember the history of Saturday Night Live, like episode 2, the first season, like they put so much work into that first show that the second show they didn't really have anything, and so Lauren like leaned on Paul to come in, and like it was basically a de facto Simon and Garfunkel reunion, and then they had a couple of skits in there, but. Yeah, so not a big surprise with all the Paul Simon tie-ins, but to that point, Jeff, like, yes, it's kind of sad seeing them at the end of the runway, but it's a similar kind of thing like we're talking about with Nirvana, or to see a legacy band with somebody else. Like it's not the same, but gosh, that's as close as you can kind of get.
So I haven't seen
touching the Phoenix.
Who was it? Ann Wilson, or was it? Who fronted Nirvana when they got inducted into the Hall of Fame?
That was
Joan Jett?
Joan Jett, yes.
Joan Jett. I thought she did a great job.
Yeah, not bad. That one.
And I think the one who did Led Zeppelin. Sorry.
Yes, talk about one of the best performances of I'm assuming the Kennedy Honors was televised.
Yes, the Kennedy Honors.
Yeah. It literally made Robert Plant cry. I mean, he was borderline weeping, and it rightfully so. Like, what a more powerful performance. But yeah, I don't know. Verdict is still out. Again, hot rumor that they're looking at arenas. I think that's, I mean, they have to start looking if that's even viable. Plus, then you read all the conspiracy theories. Well, this is Dave Grohl's way to get his way out of the doghouse with his infidelity and all that stuff. It's like, wow, guys. I mean, I really don't think that
so
has
it's going to be
anything
called
to do.
the post Nirvana Doghouse Tour. Is that what
right? Just to get in his wife's good graces. That seems like a kind of a stretch. Yeah. Now, hang on. Felipe says Dave needs divorce money. Now, hang on. I think they're trying to work it out, Felipe. I think this is a.
I think Felipe's talking about the Oasis reunion tour.
So. Oh well, that's.
Hold up.
We'll see if that one gets off the ground. I'm holding. Felipe's holding too on that one. The Groove Seeker says Robert Plant is just sensitive. Well, maybe he is. Maybe a rock god can have feelings. Groove Seeker. Come on now. Now hang on. Spins Vinyl. This is a good one. McCartney on the stage or Tyson in the ring. Very similar kind of approach because there was
in 2024 you could get both, right?
Well, you could.
You could have got
even
both.
See Mike Tyson's butt cheeks if you're watching that.
They both bummed me out. I was like, oh,
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, Jeff Myers is right. People get old. Newsflash. We have
Yeah.
breaking news. Hang on, I have to play the breaking news one because Jeff Myers has hit it round the head.
Breaking news, Sandy Andy.
That's right. People get old. Back to you, Steve. Oh man. Well, I enjoyed it. I think it was a pleasant surprise. I quite frankly, I think the music in the concert on Friday was better than the stuff they did. I like Lil Wayne. Like Lil Wayne came out there and he just like did a medley, and that was okay.
Yeah, he actually was fine. I saw that.
Yeah, he was fine. That was kind of what I
good.
expected, you know. And again, the Roots were there again. I mean, those dudes won the weekend. I got to be honest. Those guys.
And the show was funny too. I liked it. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah,
it was
classic.
outrageous. Eddie Murphy, doing Tracy Morgan. That's great.
Eddie, I'm sorry if anyone even tries to talk to me and says Eddie Murphy is not the best SNL person of all time. Like they literally just leave. Like Eddie is the GOAT. He's the GOAT at stand up. He's the GOAT at SNL. Like this is the best. Loved it.
He saved the show in the 80s. I mean,
he did. Well, yeah, because people forget Lauren left after 5 seasons, and then Dick Ebersol. There was somebody in between who got fired. Then Dick Ebersol, who was running, I think, NBC Sports, took over, and yeah, they had 19-year-old Eddie Murphy, and it was him. And Piscopo were, they weren't 1A, 1B. It was definitely Eddie was a supernova.
Yeah.
And Piscopo was great in his own right too. He did a good Frank Sinatra and whatever. He was there, by the way. I've been hearing some of the post recaps, and they're like, yeah, when they do the pan shot of the people in the crowd, like they did the Tina and Amy thing, and it was just mainly a big flex of look at all the celebrities here. And there was poor Joe Piscopo in the upper horizon. Like I was like, that's Joe Piscopo. Oh, poor guy. Like poor Joe, but he was there. I mean, but yeah, so that from 80 to 84, it was pretty lean times. Then Eddie was kind of moonlighting in 84. Then they had the one season 85 cast. You've got Billy Crystal. I think that was the Downey Jr. Like what a weird mashup of people. You had Billy Crystal,
a lot of
Downey
one
Jr.,
season people.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Anthony Michael Hall, I think was on. That might have been 86, I forget, but it was a very Martin Short, who had cut his teeth at SCTV. Then he comes down and does that one season and had Ed Grimley and what was the one synchronized swimming ballerinas or something. That was anyway. So I could talk SNL for a while, but
yeah,
John Belushi,
great, right? Because the old and then the new got to work together. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. Did you guys see the 40th anniversary when they did it 10 years ago?
Yeah,
I feel like they did a better job of integrating like current cast members then, because I think you had like Sudeikis and Kristen Wiig and some people then were in more skits. Like this year with the 50th, like Bowen Yang was in one, I remember, but I don't really remember them using a lot of the new people. It was mainly a lot of the old, which I'm fine with.
Yeah.
But especially after they do Weekend Update, it kind of slows down. But I gotta say, the Scared Straight skit, when you had the greatest and the almost greatest, you had Eddie and Will Ferrell, Big Red.
Yeah.
Big Red came in there, and oh man, I mean, whenever they what they call it, crack, whenever they get each other to laugh.
Yeah, I know.
Just love that stuff.
I want Eddie to do a stand-up tour again. That's what I want.
Oh, well, Jeff, the sad part there? So that was going to happen, and I was all queued up because Chappelle was kind of saying it. Chris Rock was saying it because they said that Eddie was starting to like find like clubs, like quiet clubs, like Caroline's in the city of New York.
Well, what's that big award that he got and Dave Chappelle got?
I know which one you're talking about because he did a couple of riffs.
Who's the big author from the late 1800s? That's the name of the award. Help me out.
It's not the Peabodys.
No. He's a
famous
author. He's got white hair, kind of looks like the
Mark Twain Awards.
Mark Twain Award. Thank you.
Yeah.
He basically did a stand-up set at the Mark Twain Award, and it was awesome. And I was like, man, he's got to go back on tour. But,
yeah. Well, so what was happening there is that was him kind of kicking. That was right around SNL 40. We're a little bit after that. Then he did that. You're right. And Chappelle and Rock were kind of like writing jokes for him. Like he was starting to kind of. And to the point where they had a loose outline of a concert schedule. And then you know what happened? COVID-19.
Yeah.
and COVID-19, and he didn't want to pick it up after that. Like he was just unbelievable. Oh, hey, Novice Nick, I want to say hello to Novice Nick. And Novice Nick, this is a cheap plug alert. Tap that like button, please. Hit that like button. YouTube loves to see. We got 84 beautiful souls right now. Hit the like button, folks. It doesn't cost you a thing. It means a lot. Hit the dislike button. That's okay too. It doesn't really hurt my feelings. If you don't like what we're talking about, that's okay. But Novice Nick, thank you for reminding me to do my hosting duty. But yeah, and trust me, I already had prepped my wife. I said, if Eddie's coming on tour, like, I'm sorry, no money. Money is not an object. Like, that is, talk about the thing that you want, like, bucket list thing.
Yeah,
like,
that'd be incredible.
Yeah.
So
when
you'd
Eddie,
laugh if he showed up on tour with the jumpsuit, right? Like the bigger version of that jumpsuit.
Oh, Delirious.
Like
yeah, if he came out.
Yeah, just like.
Or even Raw, he came out in the purple velour. Like,
you know,
come on, like.
Yeah, I'm seeing Shane Gillis in April. I'm pretty pumped for that. But,
yeah, he's a pretty funny guy. Yeah.
Like him.
Wow. Amazing.
Former SNL alum.
Kind of.
Yes.
He's got one day. He was on it.
He was one day. What's funny is, I guess it's ironic. You're watching SNL 50, and then they cut to that Bud Light commercial, him and Post Malone. I'm like, I don't know if this is deliberate, but funny spot to run. Hey, Nick Fantasy is here. Hello, Nick. Nick is actually on the Mount Rushmore of nice guys in the vinyl community. So I do. Nick, I've been seeing you over at the Fred Putterman place. When I tune in there, I see Nick Fantasy all over there. So Joseph Polester, hello. But yeah, man, Eddie, I was all set. I told my wife, look, if we got to take out a mortgage to go see Eddie, like, I'm ready. Because that's like I don't know. Like when here's a good example for me. I was too young to go see Van Halen in their prime. Like, and I'm talking David Lee Roth, Van Halen. I'm not talking like Sammy. Okay.
Yeah.
Diamond Dave.
You didn't go for the reunion tour? You didn't do that?
Well, that's what I was going to say. So I did 2009 or 10, whenever that was, when they first happened. So you had, sorry, Michael Anthony, they just subbed in Wolfie, and then and Diamond Dave was like a mercenary just getting paid by the gig. But I went because that was as close as I'm going to get to true Van Halen. I mean, it was pretty much true Van Halen minus Michael Anthony, which got a raw deal, and it was amazing getting, like, especially because in 2004, I think they were doing, I think that was the last Sammy Van Halen tour, and Eddie was just out of his mind. So I heard those shows were just not good. So when I heard that, I'm like, probably in my lifetime, I'm not going to see, especially Dave, because if you remember in 96, they were going to reunite. They're going to do the core four. They're going to do Eddie, Michael Anthony, Alex, and David Lee Roth. And they went to the MTV Awards for the first time on stage together. And David Lee Roth blew it. Like, literally was such an asshole, whatever award they're presenting. I think it was to Beck. I think Beck was winning the award. And they came off stage, and he was just such an ass. And basically Eddie was going to punch him. And he's like, fuck this, we're done. Didn't even get it off the ground. And once I heard that, I was like, man, never going to happen. So then, Jason, to your point, they announced that reunion tour. And so I went, and it's not the same, but it's still awesome. Like Arnaldo said, you're still hearing Brian May. You're still hearing Eddie send you to outer space solo that you just cannot even put your mind around, because, it's beautiful. Hello, Paul. Have you guys ever, outside of like Arnaldo talking to me, Van Halen, have you, Jeff or Jason, have you ever been to a show that was kind of like that? Like, you didn't think you'd see it, as kind of disbelief, and then it not only met expectation, but went past it? Jeff, I see you nodding. What comes to mind when you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, my favorite band of all time is Rush. And I got to see Rush in Chicago before Neil Peart passed, so I got to see all three of them. Neil Peart with a 360-degree rotating drum set. I mean, it was everything. It was the Angels and Demons tour, or no, it was Snakes and Arrows maybe, but it was unbelievable. It was everything I ever wanted. It was just incredible.
Yeah, that's one that, you still hear the rumblings. Like, I think when Alex and Getty played some kind of one-off, was it the South Park thing? I forget what it was. But then, obviously Neil had passed. And then you hear the rumblings. Oh, maybe they'll do it. Don't know. That's one, like, nobody can top Neil Peart. Like, let's just be honest. But,
yeah, I know. That wouldn't be the same at all. But.
Well, you knew this was coming, guys. Cesar is here, and he says, Soda Stereo reunion. was out of this world. You knew. Everyone take a drink. Cesar is here to mention Soda Stereo. This is the bottoms up portion of the presentation. You know what's coming. Now, I see Spins Vinyls here, and he again contributes, guys, not to flex, but I got to see 70-year-old Adam Ant last year. No big deal. Wow. Yeah, can't compete with that. That's almost like seeing Weird Al at Six Flags level, like almost.
Molly Hatchet was at the Cook County Fair when I was a kid.
Well, look at that.
No big deal. But
was that before or after the horse feedings? Because that's usually when
there was a bull ride, and then Molly Hatchet ran out.
Hell yeah. Probably some bows and arrows were involved there. Jason, have you ever seen a show that you were? I feel like you probably have of recent lineage that was something that you never thought you'd see in your lifetime, and you did, and it.
Never thought I'd see the Eagles, but I got a ticket, and whether they're using backing tracks or not, it was still okay. I did miss Glenn Fry, like he was.
Is that would they have a son? Because they had Vince Gill.
The son was there. I had to say, like Vince Gill, like that guy can play guitar. Like he gave like Joe Walsh a run for his money. It was like, oh, you think you could play? And then Vince Gill is just like throwing it down. It's like, whoa, crap. Didn't see that coming,
Vince Gill. Yeah. Who knew? Vince Gill like had the chops.
Chops, could sing. I mean, honestly, I was like, man, I kept on thinking like, hey, like no offense to Glenn Frey's son, like, but you could let Vince Gill sing any of these songs if he wanted to, He was so good.
Yeah. We'll talk that's a good segue because that's one of those kind of concerts that kind of, I was thinking SNL 50, 1994, Hell Freezes Over. The Eagles were kind of one of the first ones to kind of do the televised reunion never thought was coming. And then 3 years later, our friends Fleetwood Mac got back together with The Dance, if you remember that one. So that was very apropos. I think if somebody pulls it off and then they kind of start copycatting it, we saw a lot of that in the late 90s. I wonder if there's bands like that. Maybe Jane's Addiction. That's a band nobody thinks will tour again, and they'll come back.
Never say never. I know that was like a punch out.
Delightful. All right, well, guys, I think again we've had another successful version of beating this topic to death. Let's kind of close out. Any new vinyl pickups? Because I gotta be honest, you guys won't believe me. I'm on a vinyl diet. Wow. It's not dry January, but it's a vinyl diet, and more to come. I've got some things.
I will get a couple things. I think I've shown them to you guys, but we'll show them to the.
Yeah, I'll show them again. Jeff's ready. Jeff for his second appearance knows the game, knows how it's played, and he's got a fat stack of records. Jeff, we'll lead off with you. Like, what kind of stuff have you been bringing into the household?
Let's see here. Nothing crazy. But I got a really clean copy of Tommy.
First press?
Yeah, first press.
Nice.
These are getting harder and harder to come by. So when I have an opportunity to get a really nice first pressing of that, I'm going to grab it. Got this promo of Norman Greenbaum. I like that reprise timing strip's kind of cool. And then I think the white label on the reprises are very, very cool as well.
All right, now Jeff, I gotta ask, because this one I always get some twisted. Is it reprise or reprise?
I say reprise. Am I wrong? I don't know.
It's reprise.
That's what I thought, because I used to do the same thing, Jeff, and then I got corrected, and so now I'm always remembering it's reprise.
Yeah, it's reprise. Like I said,
there.
Attaboy. I was always saying reprise. It's not like you can play this back, but yeah, I think that's I don't know, pretty cool. Nice. And then I got this Johnny Cash at Folsom Prison.
Cool.
At first press.
So at Columbia 6i?
No, I think they did 2i for
2i on that one. Okay.
I think. Let me look. Yeah, it's 2i.
Yes, sir, 2i. Okay.
But in the shrink, I mean, that thing is beautiful. So I was really pumped to get that, and then I'll let somebody else go. But I do have one more thing to show.
Oh, delightful. Well, shoot. I don't know if I have any of my good stuff up there. Arnaldo, you're back. Arnaldo.
I am back.
What do you got?
Oh, is Jeff done?
He's holding out. He's holding out for the. He's got one more for the encore, but let's go ahead and roll with you. We'll go
grab it.
Okay, so I think it was Monday, day off. Took a drive to Brooklyn. Went to a store that Human Head.
Yeah,
And
that's
there's
the one
always-
to go to in Brooklyn. Let's just be honest. I mean, Billy is a great guy, but he was closed when I tried going. So Billy, you're lost, pal.
No, it was
Yes.
strategic so that my partner can go and spend time at one of his favorite stores while I was shopping nearby at Human Head. So it was a compromise so that it would be both
Hey,
of us would be happy.
teamwork makes the dream work. I can appreciate
Right.
that.
And yeah, I think I for the first time ever, apart from the 45 section, I think I went through 90% of the store. That's how much time I had. And I picked up a UK copy of Who's Next.
Excellent.
And they have plenty of listening stations there. I had a stack of other records.
Is one called the Jason Rojas listening section? Because that's his guy. That Human Head is his guy. Come on.
I had a stack of records that I was just pulling out because at a store like Human Head,
Nice.
when you see something that you're even remotely interested, it's best that you pull it out and you hold on to it.
Hold on to it. Yeah.
Because you don't know who's coming right after you.
Yes.
It is going to grab it. So I was pulling out a couple things. I was like, I want to listen to these first. And I weeded out quite a few. So this is really what made the cut. Who's Next? UK copy. First pressing. I listened to it. It sounded great. What happened to Chance? We lost him?
Keep going.
He gone. All right. So I guess we can run the show by ourselves.
I'm right here. Hang on. I'm
You're
gonna
back?
go get my stuff. Please continue to go. I did a
Okay.
poor job of
Am I
managing
flipped,
time.
by the way? I don't know. We have technical problems.
No, you're good. It says who's next. You're right side up.
Perfect. Yeah, I brought it home. I asked Jason his opinion because there were 3 records that I texted him about. And when I brought it home, there's no comparison with the remastered version, which will be going on Discogs for sale. So keeping this one, great purchase. Second one was the first one that I laid eyes on as soon as I walked in because it was on the wall. And another Fela Kuti record, Shakara. This is the cover that I'm most familiar with. Maybe it's a little too far away because it's showing nudie girls, but it's all good. This was in shrink. I removed the shrink, which was still intact. But my policy is if it doesn't have a hype sticker, what's the point in keeping an old shrink? Because it's dusty. What's the point? It's a shrink.
It's awesome.
I'm not going to resell it with the shrink, so I'm going to enjoy it, right? So I removed the shrink, and the record is near mint. I played it there. It sounded great. I brought it home, cleaned it. It sounds fantastic. So I'm very happy with this. Has the red label, so it's a US pressing. Really happy with it. And then a record that I never see, if not at record shows, and it's always way too pricey. And I've always wanted it. Yes, it is. It's in very good condition. Has a couple of crackling in between songs, but for the price, I couldn't complain and pick this up. A gift for you, the Phil Spector and Friends record. What is it named? What is it? Philly's Records. Yeah. Also a first pressing on the yellow, and I later learned that there's also a blue label. Some pressings came with the blue, but yeah, I'm very happy about this one. Also because I brought in a stack of records to trade, which compensated for some of this purchase. So yes, I'm following Jose's advice of trading in records to buy new records. So
Yeah, I just wanted to say in honor of Jason, I truly did just get these, but I upgraded all my Eagles albums to first. I mean, they're always first press, but first press is in the shrink and hype stickers, Arnaldo. So
if it has the hype sticker, I keep it.
So I was pretty pumped to get
All right,
All
the
those.
the super saver doesn't qualify as a hype sticker.
Oh
that comes out.
no!
It qualifies. And the last
Super
one is,
saver means that it's a budget.
Oh, there it is.
I'm from Chicago, so this is the last one, but this is from the Voice of America
Yeah,
collection.
I have that one. Yeah.
Had
Chance
to have the
has
Super
that.
Bowl shuffle,
Oh, man.
especially from the Voice of America. You know, you gotta do it.
All right, Rojas. Do you want to go?
Shall
or you
we
want me to
open
go?
this debate? Shrink to keep or toss if it doesn't have the hype sticker.
Keep, obviously keep. The only
right.
answer is keep.
I remove it.
It really depends. If it's like old and it's in good shape and not in tattered shrink, it's a game time decision. I got to be honest.
I could have kept it because it wasn't torn at all. What value is it going to add? I'm not going to.
It's not about the value; it's about the history. You have a record from like 1972 that has the shrink on it, and just because it doesn't have a hype, you're like, let me just rip it off.
I don't know. It's just not. It's not adding value. It has
It's
the
not
hype
value;
sticker.
it's the history.
Karen Kelly says, "Ditch the
Dusty
shrink, go
history?
bareback." Bareback is the new
Dusty.
term.
What if it's dusty? What are you going to put all that dust with the rest of your records?
Like the shrink is dusty.
Yeah.
Just wipe it.
Nah.
No.
Wow. Well, how about I go, Jason? Do you want to go, or should I go?
That's
No, you
true.
should
What,
go. You should
what
go
John
now.
Boom said. Yes. Thank you for the previous owner who had the shrink on there. My record my record cover looks a lot better because
Agreed.
they kept it on. Had I kept the shrink on my Kiss records, they probably look a lot better than what they look like now.
So Vinyl Piper weighs in. The shrink has been protecting the record for 50 or 60 years. It deserves to be respected. But, for every one of those, you get one like my man Tom. Shrink wrap is like a condom. It interferes with my pleasure. So, I mean, it truly is called bareback. I mean, I don't know what the term, maybe we'll create
it's not like I'm not showing respect. I put it in a resealable sleeve, so it's still going to be protected for the next 50 years.
Agreed. All right. Let's go through a couple of these. So don't laugh, but I'm trying to get upgrades on my heart records. Okay. We're going to start small. These are very affordable and very findable. So I had starter copies as I started building my collection. And
No,
so
it's
now
not a
I'm going
victory.
back.
It's a sign of how much you should have paid for it.
Wow. This was actually, I think this is a $5. This is an Abraham Lincoln.
That's a
right here.
$2 record.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Does it have What About Love on there?
Is that on this
No,
one?
that's later.
No, yeah. This is How
Okay,
Can I
well-
Refuse is I think the big one on this one. Yeah. This is just a filler. This isn't one that you
It doesn't have this
it's not like
heart.
Dreamboat Annie or anything like that.
These dreams. So if there's
Yeah.
not a hit on it, it's a $2 record.
What?
I mean,
Oh, gosh.
All right. So this is I don't do reissues too often. Again, friends don't let friends do reissues unless you can. So the Sundays Interscope put this out. This is blind. They did a reissue, I think, 2017 for Record Store Day. Crazy
I have them.
in the aftermarket. It's like $200 or something. So
Oh, is it?
gold vinyl, not my favorite. Wild Horses is probably their signature song on this. But the wonderful folks at FedEx, you're gonna have a hard time believing this. Played Frisbee with my package. Okay. And again, the advent of technology, I caught him on the Ring camera. And dude was literally, again, I have one step from my driveway to my porch. And my man he thought he was auditioning for like disco golf or whatever they call that stuff. And yeah, so magically these came a little damaged. And magically also, if you raise a stink, not every time, but sometimes, because I bought one to keep and one to sleep. Because again, the 2017, it's like $200. So I bought one to keep and one to sleep. And they said, well, sorry, those are a little bit damaged. We'll give you 50% off. Great. That's wonderful. But the beauty sometimes in dealing with these third party, I think it was called Route, I think is the third party like insurer of the transaction.
Yes.
I dealt with one lady on 2 emails. And then for the last email, I'm thinking I'm getting 50% off. I've agreed to it. They're going to PayPal it back to me, et cetera, et cetera. And wouldn't you know, I got a new person who gave me a full refund. So
Awesome. Just curious about the FedEx guy. From
Yeah.
how far away was he frisbeeing?
Let's see. He could have easily walked up another 3 feet and set it down at the front lip of my porch. So he was about, from my front door, he was probably about 6 feet away.
How was the form? Good form?
No, I didn't even want to give him any positive because I literally saw the guy. I was helpless. I was in like a meeting and I saw the ring camera and I could see the guy go, "Oh," and I'm like, "Oh," you know, one of those things is disaster city. So, next to Jurassic 5, this is first press 2007, I think, 2007, Power in Numbers. So this is love. This is my favorite Jurassic 5 album. I love it. And then Wilco, first press 96. I'm not generally a Wilco guy, even though like Jeff Tweedy's from like Southern Illinois and all that kind of stuff. But one of my locals, Dead Wax, which Jason's been to, had this up on the wall, and I thought, well, if not now, when? So I was happy to pick this up. Sounds terrific. It's I think Bob Ludwig actually did this one. Let's see. I forget. It was mastered really well. I forget. Now, showstopper time. You guys ready for this?
I'm ready.
You ready? Got your brown pants on? All right. So hopefully people have watched the Concert Buddy channel. And actually, we have a wonderful new drop to announce the Concert Buddy channel. You wait for it. You need silence. Here it is.
Concert Buddy channel.
Yes, the Concert Buddy channel.
Concert Buddy channel.
Yes, on the Concert Buddy channel, we did a wish list. What is my 2025 wish list? And one of my wish list records was Towns Van Zandt.
Cool.
Poppy. And I had low expectations. This came the guy I got it from, VGVG, but let's try it. And outside of some creasing and a little bit of ring wear, I'm okay with it. I would say, given it's 1969, 68, 69, over 50 years old, I'd give this a VG plus. I'm just going to be honest in terms of the cover. And then the vinyl, he was very conservative with the grading, and it was good. So happy to. This is the first Poppy I got. I did actually find a 45 from Towns at one of my honey holes that has like over 1 million 45s in the place. And I got it for $5. And then I saw on the wonderful eBay. It's a French online store, eBay, and they want fat money for it. So I may end up putting that one. It may subsidize another Towns Poppy release. Oh, and one more.
That's cool.
This is for, if Paul is still here, he'll appreciate this one. Breakfast King. So this is a band, St. Louis's own. I've worn the sweatshirt before. This is the Urge. They were a ska band that kind of broke in, call it early to mid 90s. They really peaked. Probably this is their most commercial album, Too Much Stereo. This is the title track. None of their work has been on vinyl before, and I didn't even know anything, including this 45, had ever been put on vinyl. I was just on eBay, and I was looking for some kind of Urge art, and I found this. It's a jukebox copy that literally made it out and made it on vinyl. So naturally, it's not on Discogs, so I guess I'll have to be that person who has to do the Discogs entry. But this is a sneaky one for us STL locals that I didn't even know, because some of their stuff I've flirted with making bootlegs, because what's that website? I got it. Hang on. It is called Kunaki. Are you guys familiar with Kunaki?
No, what's that?
All right. So take notes if you got a pen and paper, like I know some people have. Kunaki is a site that you can send them a high-res file, digital file, and you can send them like quality artwork, and they will make at least one, or you can obviously pay to have more copies pressed, and they will literally make you whatever you send them. So I have flirted with sending some Urge materials over there, because their primary stuff was on Epic, I think, Immortal. And I don't see those ever being reissued on vinyl, just because it's kind of a niche band. It's local, St. Louis, etc. But I have flirted with going to Kunaki and having a boot made. So I probably shouldn't say that publicly, but I mean, they're out there. It's not a big mystery. I know several people have used Kunaki. So, all right, Mr. Rojas.
All right.
What have you brought into the den of
Might as well
Roja?
save the best for last. Other than this bad boy here.
Yeah, that's
which-
heat right there.
Beck, Midnight Vultures, which will.
That's
Hey, Beck, if you're
that's a killer.
watching, don't repress this. Never. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't go there. Let this thing keep rising and, have a pain in my heart, My story, if I don't know if I told it, I saw it at the local. I couldn't, it was on their grail wall. I could not look at anything else. Like I went to it, looked at it, put it back on the wall, and I was like, oh man. And I was like, I have to get out of here. I can't look at any more records. Like this thing pisses me off. And I traded for this, and that's where my haggling didn't work. It was like, we're going to give you this and you have to, then I was like, okay, I'll just take this. I'm out of here. I didn't even look at it. They were like, fine, you're going to give me this? Fine. I'm out. Give me this. Like went to the counter and like, I got to trade, they were just like, oh shit. I think the guy wasn't expecting me to buy it, but he was just like crushed, but whatever. If you don't know this record, right, this is the fun Beck, right? I like the depressing Beck, but this is fun Beck, so.
Is that the one that came right after Mellow Gold?
Odelay, no, Mutations, after
Mutations and then Midnight Vultures, okay.
Right, and then after that, Sea Changes, right, where
Sadness, sad
it
Beck,
was over. It was over for
yeah,
Beck, right?
yeah.
If you're into jazz, right, this quad
Yeah.
version of Herbie Hancock's Headhunters, you will hear more.
That's the one.
The drums are a bit recessed, but all the other instruments are now up in front. So this is.
I just don't get it. I don't have any quadraphonic. I don't get listening to the quadraphonic on a stereo system.
You just hear more. I promise you.
But you're hearing less of other stuff.
It's a different mix. I guess.
Why do you want to hear a different mix with it and a system that's not compatible with it?
You know what? You don't have to worry about it. Don't worry about it.
None yet, Arnaldo. None yet. Okay.
Don't worry.
Arnaldo takes the shrink wrap off his record, so I'm siding with Jason on this automatically.
I mean, it's kind of, this is actually like the bass really comes out and all those like the guitar.
But you don't like boosted bass.
It's not mastered by KG, so we're good.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And the last thing I want to show that I paid $22 for, which was the best, and I was shocked. This should have been more. This is the band comp from, I think, like the late 70s, and it's signed by Richard Manuel, Rick Danko of the band. The best, $22. I believe the record came from Houston. So I held it in my hand. I was like, you know what? I'm sorry you were $22, but I will celebrate you. No problem.
It's the Lion King. You just held it up like
right. Well, I was just like looking around like, why is this other thing that much? And then this 22, like these dudes are legends. Like, come on,
Jason, we got a question from Darren, the record hound. He says,
Yes.
how's the cross speaker action on that Hancock quad?
It was fine, actually. Fine. Great. Just great. And the thing is, you can still get this for under 40. So, it's still a good deal. And I think Groove Seeker, I told him about like this. And I said, one of the other secrets is that Bitches Brew and Quad is probably the best version I've ever heard of that album. And you can still get that for cheap, but.
Hang on. You're telling me it's better than the Mobile Fidelity, one step, one drop, double Velocity, $150 in a Velvet Blocks? No?
Well, I don't think the one step has come out just yet, but
oh yeah, probably not.
Maybe I should have done a comparison video. It's too late. I sold the
I have the MoFi. I have a promo for a little bit longer. I'm actually, side note, I'm trying to unload my MoFis. So if anyone is interested, hit your boy up, because the Jim Davis stuff is not accruing like I would like it to, and I'm just going originals. So good stuff, Jason. Well, I think I got to be honest. My vote, the Herbie is nice, the band is nice.
I know.
Beck is. I mean, come on. This is the Hulk Hogan of the situation here.
I'm just saying, like, you would have laughed, because like I tried to look at other records and I kept on looking at the wall and I was like, you know what? I give up. I can't be here anymore. Like I can't see this thing there, and it's It's like, like.
So I'm trying to picture this because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, end of an ear, is that where he went?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so for those who haven't gone, like end of the ear has all the real heat is in the deep corner. You walk into the place,
Yep.
far left corner is where the wall records are. The heat. That's, I think they have a fire extinguisher behind the wall, as a matter of fact. And then they have the little trade window. So as Jason was
Yes.
sharing this story, as he's sharing the story behind the scenes and picking this up, I'm picturing this record like glowing.
I mean,
like
it
a
is
beacon.
like if I put it on
literally-
the wall,
Literally
it is
glowing.
glowing on the wall. You can't even hide from it. That was the thing. I was just like looking. I'm like, you know what? I can't look at any more records.
Yes.
I'm just gonna get out of here. And
Yes.
like I was in my car, like, okay, so I don't want to pay that much. How can I get this? Okay,
Sure.
I can trade this. I was like texting Groove Seeker, like, hey, I saw this and I'm thinking about trading. He's like, no way, you shouldn't trade that thing. I'm like, whatever, like
Hang on, what was he saying you shouldn't trade in? Groove Seeker, we're going to expose you. What did you trade in that he was saying?
Well, I
no?
had these box sets that I hadn't listened to. I had that 13 Floor Elevators box set,
Okay.
that I hadn't listened to in a while. I had that Kinks Village Green box set, and then I thought about trading that Springsteen box set,
Oh, okay.
but I forgot about the Springsteen, so I only brought those 2 boxes, and then I tried to haggle, and they were just like, "No, we got that Midnight Vultures 2 days ago," and I'm like, "Well, it only lasted 2 days, so see ya."
That was 2 days. 2 days too long, if you ask me.
It was like I was like, I had, the thing is, like, I'm driving there, and I'm like, "Hey, if it ain't there, don't worry about it. Keep those box sets. Don't worry about it."
Wow. Yeah. Okay. I was going to ask, like, if you had gone back home, because not to dox you, but it's not an easy drive. It's a good concentrated drive to go back and come back for you.
Sure.
And so if you had done all that work and then and it sounds like you would have been okay with it. Your Jedi-ness, you would have been okay
Correct.
with the vinyl gods. Okay.
I mean, as we all know, like, you win some, you lose some. So, like, you're not always going to get what you want, right? But the fact that it was still there,
You got
I
to
was
try
kinda-
sometimes.
Well, like, I saw it when I arrived. I'm like, okay, let's see, and yeah, I was just like, I'm all in for this,
No, that's a home run. That's a home run. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I might have seen, no, it was Mellow Gold. I was confusing it. At Austin, I saw Mellow Gold. It was not that one. I've never seen that guy in the flesh, but I've seen Mellow Gold.
Well, I saw him at WFMU. I think 2 years ago. I think. I don't
Wow.
remember. Arnaldo, did you see it? And
The Mellow Gold.
no,
Midnight
Vultures.
Oh, that I've never seen. I don't think I've
Yeah.
ever seen that.
It was there, and then I was like talking with the guy, and we're laughing, and then
By the time I walked
"So-"
by, probably somebody bought it, but because I've never
yeah,
seen it.
yeah. But I mean, I think he had sea changes, mutations, and then this, and then I'm like, I'm more depressed back, and then he was like laughing, and I'm like, it's like I'm more fun back, and then we were just talking about the records, and then he dropped. I think he wanted 260 for his, but the more we talked, he was ready to sell it to me for 240, and I didn't take him up.
Oh, you missed out.
Well, I just felt like,
How
like
much? Say that again?
240.
And that's how much he was asking?
No, he asked for 260. The more I talked with him, then he was like, I'll sell it to you for 240. I'm enjoying this conversation, and then
Oh, the charmer, the vinyl charmer. That's really your new handle now. The vinyl
and then
charmer.
I was just kind of like,
That's
I
right.
can't, like, I'm more depressing back. I like the depressed back. Like,
Oh.
let's. But then,
Well-
like, I thought about that record, like, because I turned it down. So then, the fact that it showed up in End of an Ear and it was just like calling me, it was like, what the? I mean, again, like, it's just like, what the?
Terry, I think we've lost in translation. Not $2.40. I think I add a couple zeros.
Right. Terry, don't be mad. I don't know. Like, you're gonna go to End of the Year. They had like a Breeders UK Last Splash there too, and it was hot. That one, they had the Pixies. They had a couple things, but I guess this thing just caught my eye for sure.
Arnaldo, I think Jeff Myers said something, a bad joke, because he's apologizing profusely, and he also says you're my favorite here, so now I feel bad.
He compared me to our president, and I'm like, no.
Oh. Well, I'm more upset. He said you're my favorite here, so now I feel bad. So thanks, Jeff, for showing your cards. Thanks. We're all
Concert
supposed to
Buddy,
be.
can you show Cesar's comment? It's really good.
Oh no, here we go. Oh, is it about Soda Stereo? No. Don't lie, Jason. You were sweating while going to the record store. Your heart would have been broken if it wasn't there anymore. How do you respond to this allegation?
It's probably true, but I said, like, I was setting myself, like, ready for, failure if it wasn't there, I was like, damn.
So I don't know if you were listening while I was showing my records. I mentioned how I was uncertain about the US pressing of Fela Kuti, right? And I asked Jason, he's like, oh no, I've never heard that. And then I'm showing him these other records. And you know how I've told you, when you shop with Jason, it's more likely that you won't buy records.
Oh no, yeah.
You won't buy records.
Yeah, it's a reverse of peer pressure. It's opposite of
even
peer
on
pressure.
the text, the final text was buy records that you're really going to listen to. So here I am putting away a couple more that I had in the stack.
I think he's like the vinyl. He's vinyl C block. He's vinyl cock block.
He's
Let's
like
be honest.
the devil that appears on your shoulder when the bad one appears and the good one shows up. The little cartoons. Yeah,
that's Jason, and I'm on the other end, being like, "Hey, it's money on the shelf, Arnaldo.
When are you going to see it again?
When are you going to see?
Yes,
I'm the worst. I'm the worst.
That's how I am too. Get it, get it.
You get it, and then change your mind later. I mean, that's just the. I don't know. Again, there's different approaches, but yeah, you're right. Jason is he's definitely he makes you weigh the decision more than normal. I'll give him that, and sometimes that's good because it's like the 24-hour rule. Like, oh, it's not an impulse, and if it's there, it's there. And I've tried to change my impulsive ways to kind of follow Jason's lead there. But yeah, he'll talk you out of a record without talking you out of a record, no doubt.
I mean, but sometimes the deal's a deal. Like, I mean, I know that's great. Like, that's not going to change this, but this thing, I love them, like King Harvest, that song, like, whoa, that's like one of the best, like, roots rock funk songs I've ever heard in my life.
I've never seen that record. That's a collection, right?
This thing? No, it's a comp.
It's a comp, right? Yeah. I have never seen that. I have never flipped through it. Never. All the other band records, but I've never seen that.
I mean, you're gonna laugh. I kept on looking all over it. Like, where's
Is
Levon?
It difficult
Is
to
Levon
find?
Here? Like, oh no, Levon, no. But
is it difficult to find? Because I've never, like, all the band records that I flipped through, I've never seen that.
This came out in '78, so
okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's well known because I see the other ones,
Well, Arnaldo, we're working on branding here, and the new one for Jason is Leave It to Rojas. And what that means is leave it to Rojas to find a record no one's ever seen before. And now it's piqued your curiosity that you're actually going to put it on your want list. Leave It to Rojas is what we call that. That's what he did with the Beach Boys record with Love You. Was that the one? I never heard of that record. We're over at Jason's place. He puts it on, and I'm like, what is this? This is a delight. And he's like, you didn't know about this? And then he's like, it's only like a $15 record. And then I'm like, oh, now I really want it. Leave It to Rojas. Here we go.
But that's a great record,
It is a great record. It's a very good record.
It's really fun, man.
All right, guys.
Have you done a Cheap Heat?
What's up?
Have you guys done a Cheap Heat episode lately?
Cheap Heat.
It's been a minute. We can definitely, that's good food for thought. We can work that into the rotation for sure.
Curious.
All right, guys, I think we've done it. We've completed another mission across the turntable. We've won some, we lost little, and we're here to tell the tale to future generations. I want to thank my guests again, Jason Rojas, Jeff, channel's Vinyl Record Info, Arnaldo, the channel's Fidelius_frequency. Don't forget, Jason Rojas does stream on Sunday mornings. He did play that Beck record, so you should go back. Was that one pulled down, Jason? Was that what the copyright police get you?
No. This one was fine.
So that one's out there. If you want to hear that lovely collectible vinyl, it's out there on the YouTubes. And this is Concert Buddy, the St. Louis Sook. Here to sign off. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. I appreciate you. Even Jeff Myers, I'm not his favorite, but I appreciate Jeff Myers for coming in and checking it out. So next week, B-side, you've heard him, Spins Vinyl. It's coming at you. Guys streaming every week, so he needs you. Feed off your energy. And hit that like button if you haven't already. Come on now. Do it to it. All right, guys. Be good. See you next time.
I guess.
Good night, guys. Bye.